Hey everyone, it's Matthew. Welcome to another episode of MMA and Coffee. On this episode, we'll be giving predictions for UFC 195. Let's do this. So this year, my Christmas was kind of small, but it was still good. One thing I got was some coffee mugs. Let's see. It's kind of hard to tell, there's a glare, but so I got this one, and then I got just all black one. I wanted to get a black mug with the logo, but couldn't find it. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. But anyways, so I'll be drinking from that from now on. Pretty cool. Alright, so first prediction is Dustin Poirier against Joe Duffy. This fight was supposed to happen in like October. It got delayed because Joe Duffy apparently received a concussion in training right before the fight. So it got pushed back. It's going to be on this card. This might be too soon for Joe Duffy. It depends on the concussion. You don't know if he got rocked or if he actually went limp. I said this in previous videos. Fighters should take longer periods off, not just to let the body heal, but to let the brain heal. I've just seen too many times fighters come back too soon. So for this fight, the prediction will depend on Duffy's chin. And the reason I say that, if he comes back too soon, he's going to be more prone to get rocked. He's going to be more prone to get another concussion. So both fighters, they like to stand. They're both great on the ground. It's really kind of hard to call this fight, other than Dustin likes to use his hands more, whereas Joe, he uses knees, kicks, and his punches. So I feel like on the feet he mixes it up a little bit better than Poirier. On the ground, again, toss up. Poirier, he hasn't done it recently. I mean, he did it in his older fights, arm bars, but more recently, the Dar seems to be his go-to choke. So maybe he hurts Duffy and Joe goes for a sloppy takedown and he could catch him in it. I doubt that happens, but it's possible for Duffy. He has multiple submissions as well. He has the rear naked choke, triangle, I think armbar. He did an armbar. So he has the tools as well. He's also training at TriStar, so I assume he's going to have a good game plan for this fight. This is a toss-up. In this fight though, I don't see it going to a decision. Moving on to the co-main event, Stipe Miocic against Andre Arlovski. This fight could be a main event. I actually feel like Andre is the #1 contender. I think he should be fighting Verdum right now, not Cain Velasquez. If you look at the UFC's heavyweight rankings, it's a big hot mess. I think a lot of that has to do with bad matchmaking. The fact that Overeem was like #8 against #2 Dos Anjos. Just a lot of weird stuff going on, and this is another example. Also, since this is the co-main event, this is a 3-round fight, similar to the Jacare and Romero fight. That was 3 rounds. I feel like that's a contender fight. That should be main event, 5 rounds, but we're not going to get that. This fight, again, I think Andre should be fighting Verdum, but since he's not, Stipe, he has a good chance of winning this. He really does. I could see him winning 3-round decision. For Andre, I could see him potentially looking for a finish. Just one of those toss-ups. Andre, you know, when he came back to UFC, looked really good. And then that Frank Mir fight was kind of sloppy. He won it, but it wasn't a good showing. So some of this fight will depend on which Andre we see. But I could see him finishing the fight, maybe winning a decision. But for the most part, Stipe, when he wins his fights by decision. So yeah, toss up. Alright, so the main event is Carlos Condit against Robbie Lawler for the welterweight title. As an MMA fan, this is a great fight. I honestly just don't see how this doesn't end up being a good fight. You never know, it's MMA, but for the most part, this should be an awesome fight. Really, out of all of the people Condit could be fighting for the title, I feel like this is potentially his best opportunity to get the belt. If you look at his record, he's only lost to wrestlers. Anytime he fights strikers, he beats them. In this fight, I don't see Robbie trying to take Condit down. I see him trying to stand with him. So this fight really does favor Condit to win. Of course, Robbie has that knockout power. He's great on the feet. I think the edge Condit's going to have is he mixes it up just a little bit more. You know, he does more combinations, kicks, knees, he moves, he hits ankles, whereas Robbie, he's just going to be kind of flat-footed in your face, and this is going to be a grueling fight. So other than Condit being able to mix it up a little bit better than Robbie, really the tell of this fight will be Condit's cardio. I feel like every time he strikes with someone, he's always more active. And through that, for him being busy, he tires out a lot of people. So if this goes 3, 4, 5th round, I could see Robbie slowing down and Condit picking it up. I mean, he did that against Alves in his last fight. He also did it against Campman too. I mean, if he fought Hendricks in a 5-round fight, I think he would have finished Hendricks because he would have slowed down as well. If you watched their fight, 3rd round, he was exhausted and Condit was still going and pressuring him. So really, that is his biggest weapon, other than the fact that he mixes it up. He just keeps going. So, and we've seen Robbie slow down. That's another thing. He has all that muscle mass. We've seen him slow down. He did it in the first Hendricks fight. Second one, I think he kind of paced himself a little bit better and finished strong in the 5th round. Against the Rory fight, he kind of slowed down. Granted, he did get kicked in the head, but then he finished strong. Against Condit though, he's not going to have an opportunity to kind of sit back and recover and relax. Condit's going to keep the pressure on him, and I feel like 4th, 5th round, the one thing that's going to stand out the most if it goes there is the difference in cardio. It's going to be huge. Another thing we need to take in consideration is the fact that Robbie's last 2 fights were wars. I mean, they weren't quick, easy fights. Part of me has to wonder how much that's going to affect him just physically. Because for me, it's a fact, you only have so many fights in you, and the body can only take so much punishment, and then it's done. So the fact that he had those 2 grueling wars with Johnny Hendricks and then Rory McDonald. Granted, he didn't take too much damage with the Hendricks, but the Rory fight, he did get rocked. I just don't see how that's going to help him going against Condit, who's a finisher. I don't. Now, this is MMA. Anything can happen. Robbie could go in there and look great and finish it really quick. But if I'm looking at previous fights and styles and matchups, I think this definitely favors Condit to finish Robbie. So that's what I think about the fight. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like, dislike, subscribe. Also, if I didn't talk about a certain fight on this card, you can always leave a comment and ask me who I think is going to win on that. Until then, see you next time.